I think, I've got some really positive role models in my life, and so I've taken some of their strengths and sort of tried to build those strengths in myself. Being self-disciplined, I think that's something that a good teacher needs to have, and hardworking. It's a job that requires a lot of effort, and staying on top of it is really what's made me become successful.
By far, Mr. Swain, when you walk in the classroom, he'd yell you by your name and say, "Hey, how you doing today?" I mean, he really greets you, makes you feel welcome. He's very mellow. I mean, he's humble, he's nice to you. He doesn't treat you like he treats you like he's your own kid.
I try to make the atmosphere in my class enjoyable. It is difficult because the subject math sometimes comes off sounding pretty dry, but we try to make it interesting, and I try to make the math really connect to them personally, and that does make it more meaningful to them, and I think the kids enjoy coming to my class because of that. You guys can have discussions with the people next to you. You don't have to totally do this alone.
We keep things moving, we want to stay ahead, we want to get things done. I mean, Mr. Swain, what I like about him is he'd take times off and he'd play around with us, he'd say jokes. I mean, that's what kind of gets us, it doesn't really tighten us up, but it actually loosens us up. I try to get all my kids to be successful, so my philosophy is to try to get the students to buy into what I'm selling them, which is, an education. And so when I see a student struggle, I might pull them aside and say, look, what can I do for you? Can you meet me halfway? Because I'm willing to be there for you. And I put myself out there. I offer to the students, time in the morning before school starts if they'd like to swing in and get extra help. And I have students take advantage of it. And when students do that, then I can use them as an example for other students that are struggling, and it usually works pretty good. He let us work in groups, and if we have a question, we raise our hand, he'd come by, and he'd help us out a lot. I really like about him is he's really thorough with his answers. I mean, if we don't get it, he'd come by, he'd tell you what's up and what you don't understand.
He makes math kind of like fun instead of, just going to the same class every day that people get tired of.
The way he teaches, I never had a teacher like it. He makes the new math a lot easier because he uses it. He makes jokes of it and then he explains it too much better. Because I used to be at Woodard and I was struggling, and then we came here and I have an A in his class.
Last year, I wasn't that good at math. I always had a C, and in this class I have an A all the time. It's just easier for me.
How does it make you feel to top, good grades?
I feel good. Parents are happy about it. It makes me happy.
But teaching 8th grade, it's a challenging year because not only are we trying to prepare our kids to be academically successful in high school, but also it's a year where I think we have to work on the students' attitude just towards their education in general. So what I try to do in addition to teaching them their 8th grade math skills is really just prepare them for their future in general. And so trying to explain that to a 13-year-old to get them to open their eyes and realize what's past this year, it's somewhat of a challenge, but again, I take pride in something like that because I think their attitude towards life and their further education in general is a pretty important thing. This is probably going to be something totally new for you. It's actually not that complicated, and I would have to say that this lesson is sort of related to something that you might experience in everyday life. It has to do with a principal wanting to survey the students in a school because they're going to have an ice cream social, and the principal wants to know what is the most popular flavor of ice cream so that they might purchase the appropriate amount for the students on campus. And didn't we just get done with an ice cream social not too long ago? Do you think it might have been helpful for Mr. Tyndall to have known, what kinds of flavors of ice cream you guys liked? Let's go ahead and dive in. Here's your objective. Like I had mentioned about 2 minutes ago, you're going to be able to set up a two-way table by the end of today. You're also going to be able to figure out, what proportion of students, for example, like chocolate ice cream, or what percentage of students like strawberry or vanilla. Here's your first example. Can I have a volunteer to go ahead and read this? Anybody willing to go ahead and read it so I don't always have to be the one to carry the load? Jonathan, go ahead.
Number one?
Yep.
Answer the following question. Wait for your teacher to count how many students selected each flavor. Then record the class totals for each flavor in the chart below. Which of the following 3 ice cream flavors is your favorite? Chocolate, strawberry, or vanilla?
Raise your hand if you prefer chocolate ice cream. Keep your hands up so I can actually be able to count you. And you have to vote or you'll mess up our totals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What I'd like for you guys to do is go ahead in your table and fill in that 6 people in this class prefer chocolate ice cream. Now, raise your hand if you prefer strawberry flavored ice cream. Wow. Now, for the record, was strawberry ice cream a choice at the ice cream social? Okay. Keep that in mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Raise your hand if you prefer vanilla ice cream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So which flavor of ice cream did most students prefer in here?
Strawberry.
Overwhelmingly, strawberry was the most popular flavor, so strawberry. Right?
Yeah, I thought chocolate was going to win.
Well, you don't know what the most popular thing is unless you actually record some data. And so it might have been pretty interesting had Mr. Tyndall or the cafeteria ladies knew, if they would have known that you liked strawberry ice cream, how simple would that have been to go ahead and purchase that? Would you have been a little bit happier if we had strawberry ice cream? Yes. Maybe. And that's simple. And here's some questions that we're probably going to just let you guys talk about with somebody next to you, because I think a discussion needs to happen. I don't have to be the one to tell you these answers. Let's see if you guys can come up with it. It's sort of common sense questions. I'll go ahead and read them to you, and then you guys can go ahead and partner up. Do you think our class is a random sample of all the students in this school? Say yes or no and explain your answer. So I want you right now, you can have a discussion, but at the same time, I need you to record your answers on your packet. So go ahead and turn to the person next to you, your elbow partner, have a discussion. I'll give you guys a few minutes. Good luck.
What do you think?
I feel like for some of these kids, I see them more than maybe their parents get to see them at home. And so it is important to me that when a kid comes and just wants to have a basic conversation about, how their sports, their athletic team is doing, or, what they did over the weekend. At the same time, it is difficult to be able to juggle, all the kids' conversations or, all the things that they have going on in their personal life. But I think it means a lot to the students when it shows that you are taking an interest in their personal lives. If a student was selected at random, and you could pretend that this survey was actually done here at Gila Vista just to make it more personal and meaningful to you. If this survey was done at Gila Vista, what would you guys predict that a student's favorite ice cream flavor would be? You have to pretend that the data was done here at Gila Vista. Anybody know? Chocolate? Which is interesting because when we did our own personal survey in here, strawberry was overwhelmingly the favorite flavor. I love seeing my students succeed. That's probably the number one thing that gets me going. I want every single student that comes into my classroom to be 100% successful. It means a lot to me. I take a lot of pride in it. I don't ever want to see a kid walk out of my class failing.
I have your full support, Mr. Swain. Keep doing what you're doing.
One thing I'm going to miss about Mr. Swain is how he always has time to have fun with us whenever we're learning a lesson.
That we'll miss him when we
We
leave.
love him so much.
Yep.
I hope he wins Teacher of the Year. He deserves it.
He does.
Keep doing what you're doing, Swain. Don't change it at all.
Yeah, teaching probably wasn't the direct path that I had planned on taking, but I did. It might sound a little strange, but I probably did want to work with kids all along. I just didn't know in what capacity. And so once I got my first year under my belt, I just knew that this was for me. And here I am 10 years later. And seriously, I wouldn't change it for anything. And I hope I can continue to teach for as long as I can.